Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Snarful Solutions Group Tech Report.
It is Thursday, November 6th, 2025. Great to be here.
Yeah, great to be connecting the dots again. Today, we're looking at something huge. The race for artificial general intelligence.
It's really heating up. We've got some reports today that, honestly, they show the incredible scale of money and ambition involved, and maybe more importantly, what happens when the two biggest players, OpenAI and Microsoft, start taking really different roads to get there.
Yeah, we're talking about absolutely massive bets, some real political friction building up, and this fundamental argument over control versus, well, just letting these things run. But okay, before we dive into all that, let's quickly set the scene.
Sure. So locally here in Sacramento, looks like it's clearing up, becoming sunny, high near 68 degrees. Pretty nice.
Nice indeed.
Nationally, though, bit of a different story. Some pretty rough weather in the Pacific Northwest, heavy rain, even snow up in the Cascades. And meanwhile, dry and windy conditions mean elevated fire weather concerns across the high plains and upper Midwest. So keep an eye on that if you're out there.
Right. And you know, the markets are definitely paying attention to all this AI infrastructure news. Stocks had a generally positive day. Dow Jones, S&P 500, both up just a little bit. Investors seem to be digesting things. Bitcoin, though, saw a bit of a dip, down about 1.2%. So, you know, overall, finance is still laser focused on these tech giants.
Absolutely.
Okay, now a quick word for you. If you're into iconic sports and music merch, or maybe you've got that techie friend, you know, the one who's hard to shop for, holidays are coming up, you should really check out our sponsor, Old Glory.
Oh, yeah, they have some great stuff.
They really do. Incredible fan merchandise. And here's the deal. Use our promo code SNARFUL, that's SNARFUL, at checkout, and you'll get 15% off your entire purchase. Just head over to oldglory.com.
That's a solid deal. Definitely worth checking out.
Totally. Okay, let's get into it. The core segment. The Snarful Tech Article Report, our morning star. We're zeroing in on three big shifts, strategic and philosophical, between the giants and AI. And we kind of have to start with the sheer scale, right?
Oh, absolutely. You have to start with OpenAI because the scale of what they're trying to do, spearheaded by their builder-in-chief, Greg Brockman, it's almost tough to wrap your head around. You know, Sam Altman's the visionary, the face out there selling the future.
Right.
But Brockman, he's the operator, the guy actually executing the plan for this thing they call the Stargate project.
And Stargate isn't just code, is it? It's concrete and power lines.
Exactly. The reports we're seeing suggest OpenAI has committed something like $1.4 trillion to infrastructure.
Okay, let's just hit pause there. 1.4 trillion. I mean, is that number actually real? Or is it, you know, maybe just big talk to lure investors?
Well, that is the trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
Figuratively and literally. Because you put that $1.4 trillion against their current reported revenue, which is, what, only $13 billion a year?
Yeah, tiny in comparison.
It just throws into sharp relief what a massive high-stakes gamble this whole thing is. Brockman apparently calls AGI an end-to-end engineering challenge. It's all about execution for him. Just build it. Fast.
Like you see that speed in his background, right? Like Stripe's fourth employee drops out of MIT.
Yeah, hacked together their first commercial API in a weekend, supposedly. The guy clearly operates at a different speed.
Just in other words, slow.
Right. And that drive is why he's running their new scaling group, managing all that compute power. It makes him, frankly, one of the biggest power brokers in this whole AI era.
And the compute needs are just astronomical, the AMD partnership alone.
Oh, yeah. Tens of billions of dollars. And get this. It requires 6 gigawatts of computing power.
6 gigawatts. What does that even mean in real terms?
Well, think about the Hoover Dam. This is roughly 3 times the electricity generated by the entire Hoover Dam.
3 times the Hoover Dam, just for OpenAI's models. Wow. Okay, that really puts it in perspective.
It does. And it tells you something about the competition now. It's measured in watts, not just code. AMD's CEO, Lisa Su, she apparently described Brockman's focus here. She called compute the currency of intelligence. If you can't play at this massive infrastructure scale, you're already falling behind.
Which is probably why Brockman said this makes the Apollo program look almost small. Big words.
Huge words, but maybe not entirely hyperbole when you look at the resources involved.
But building something that big, that fast,
Yeah.
It has to rub some people the wrong way. There are costs beyond just the dollars, right?
Absolutely. Two major friction points are popping up. First, energy prices. Sucking up that much power is already starting to push utility costs up in some areas.
And second, politics. These huge data centers, they're becoming local election issues. It's kind of hard to sell a community on a giant power-hungry facility when their own electric bills are soaring.
Yeah, I can see that. And then there's the money itself. The financing sounds complicated, maybe a bit murky.
It does get into some murky waters, yeah. This is where, if you're following closely, you need to pay attention. The reports mention NVIDIA, who makes the chips, a key supplier potentially discussing guaranteeing loans for OpenAI's data centers.
So the company selling the gear is also helping finance the purchase of that gear.
Exactly. And that makes analysts really nervous because, it starts to look like artificial demand. It tangles everything up, makes it hard to see the real risk investors are taking on.
Less like open market competition, more like, a closed loop between a few giants.
That's the concern. One analyst warned about potential deflating activity in valuations across the whole sector if investors feel these ties are too close. So the success of this trillion-dollar bet really depends on keeping genuine investments separate from this sort of intertwined capital structure.
Okay, so OpenAI is just pedal to the metal, full speed ahead towards AGI, disrupting power grids, tangling up finances. Just going for it.
Yeah, that's the picture.
But then you look at their biggest partner, Microsoft, and it seems like, a totally different vibe.
Which brings us nicely to topic 2, Microsoft's strategy. Let's call it the Humanist superintelligence strategy. It's led by Mustafa Suleyman. And while OpenAI is all about accelerate, Microsoft is saying, okay, yes, we want superintelligence too, but hold on, their big condition, prioritizing human control over just raw capability.
Right. I remember Suleyman warning that accelerating at all costs was like a crazy suicide mission. So what's the core difference in philosophy here? What makes their approach supposedly safer?
It really boils down to consciousness. Suleyman draws a very sharp line. He says, AI is intelligent, yes, but it is not conscious.
Okay.
He's pretty emphatic. AI doesn't feel pain. It doesn't have subjective experience. It just creates the illusion of it, the seeming narrative of experience, as he put it. It's a mimic, a sophisticated tool.
So Microsoft's position is essentially, we build amazing tools, but we are not trying to build a conscious being.
Precisely. His stated goal is that AI must always remain a tool working in service of humans, trying to make it seem sentient. He calls that the wrong question. It's a very deliberate, strategic stance.
And why should that matter to, say, a business using these tools?
Yeah.
Or just an everyday user?
Well, it comes down to trust and control, really. We already have this black box problem, right? We don't fully understand why these powerful AI models do what they do sometimes.
Yeah, the unpredictability.
Exactly. So if you then intentionally start adding simulated emotions or consciousness, well, control gets way harder, maybe even impossible. Microsoft seems to be betting that enterprise customers especially want predictability, reliability, and clear lines of control. They're positioning themselves as the responsible choice.
Which contrasts pretty sharply with others like Meta or XAI, who seem perfectly happy building emotionally intelligent chatbots.
Right. Microsoft sees that path as potentially opening up a whole can of worms, unpredictable user attachments, legal issues. They seem determined to sidestep that whole mess.
Makes sense from a business perspective. Avoid the headache if you can.
That seems to be the strategic takeaway. And this focus on responsibility and control isn't just talk. It leads directly into our third story, because this philosophical split, it's actually showing up in their products and their policies now.
Okay, so the Microsoft OpenAI partnership is showing real cracks, or at least divergences.
You could say that, yeah. Despite being OpenAI's biggest backer, Microsoft is pouring resources into becoming self-sufficient in AI. We've seen them rolling out their own internal models pretty quickly, MAI Voice 1, MAI 1 Preview, and now this new MAI Image 1 that's focused on photorealistic images. They're building their own capabilities internally.
Building their own moat, basically.
Yeah.
And that's affecting their big developer platform, too, GitHub. I saw something about a big overhaul plan there.
Yeah, absolutely. They're planning a major revamp of GitHub, specifically to fight off these newer AI-native coding tools like Cursor and Claude Code. The vision seems to be making GitHub the absolute center of gravity for all of AI-powered software development.
Center of gravity. Okay.
Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, who, by the way, just got a huge pay package tied to this AI boom, he apparently brought up Bill Gates' old frustration about apps being stuck in silos. The idea now is that AI should just erase those boundaries. between your code, your documents, websites, everything. By weaving AI deeply into GitHub itself, they keep developers locked into the Microsoft ecosystem, no matter which specific AI model they might be using underneath.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about having the best AI assistant. It's about owning the environment where developers work. That's classic platform lock-in AI edition.
You got it. But where the split gets really public, really stark, is around content policies, specifically AI-generated erotica.
Ah, right. This seems like a very clear line in the sand between them.
Couldn't be clearer. Sleeman stated very publicly, Microsoft will not build services for a simulated erotica. He called it very dangerous and framed it as a conscious safety decision.
Okay, but OpenAI just went the other way, didn't they? They announced they will allow age-gated erotic content on ChatGPT.
They did. And Sam Altman's justification was basically that OpenAI shouldn't be the elected moral police of the world. He framed it as being about user autonomy, avoiding censorship.
So you've got OpenAI prioritizing expression, even in potentially tricky areas, versus Microsoft prioritizing enterprise safety and, frankly, probably regulatory compliance.
That's the key business angle, I think. By saying no to AI erotica, Microsoft aligns itself neatly with emerging regulations, like that California SB 243 law about companion chatbots and minors.
Right, the one banning sexually explicit content for kids.
Exactly. So Microsoft is clearly choosing the path of the responsible, maybe more cautious enterprise provider. It sharply differentiates them from OpenAI, which seems willing to push boundaries more. It's really a risk management strategy disguised as a content policy.
Wow. It's just fascinating to watch this happen in real time. The partnership that basically kickstarted this whole generative AI wave is now pulling in visibly different directions on cost, philosophy, even basic content rules.
Yeah, the blueprints for the future of AI. They're definitely being drawn with two very different kinds of pens right now.
Okay, before we wrap things up, we also want to give a shout out to our other sponsor today, Skony.
Ah, Skony. Great golf shoes.
Really premium stuff. If you're looking for quality and style out on the course, check them out. And again, use that promo code SNARFUL, SNA-RFUL at checkout for 15% off your entire purchase. Their website is skoe.com.
Good shoes make a difference out there.
They really do. Okay, so let's quickly recap the big takeaways for you today.
All right. First, we saw OpenAI's almost unbelievable $1.4 trillion infrastructure bet led by Greg Brockman's intense focus on compute power and the significant energy and political friction that's creating.
Then we looked at Microsoft's counter move led by Mustafa Suleyman, a more humanist, safety-focused approach that emphasizes keeping AI as a controllable tool, deliberately avoiding simulated sentience.
And finally, we saw how that philosophical split is playing out strategically. Microsoft pushing for AI self-sufficiency, overhauling GitHub, and taking a firm public stance against things like AI erotica, a direct contrast to OpenAI's policy.
Yeah, the whole AI landscape right now really feels like this tug of war between these two giant, powerful, but increasingly different visions for the future. So maybe here's a final thought for you to mull over. If Microsoft is staking its claim as the responsible one by drawing lines around content like erotica, does that mean OpenAI is consciously trading mainstream trust, maybe even future regulatory goodwill, for more boundary-pushing autonomy? Which one of those paths actually builds more lasting value in the long run? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.